Welcome back, Cyber Explorers. It's Alfie, and in this video we'll explore together with this step-by-step guide. Complete Hyper-V step-by-step guide. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Here's a step-by-step guide to download and install Hyper-V. Check system requirements. Ensure your system meets the requirements. Windows 10 Pro, Enterprise, or Education. Windows 11 Pro or Enterprise. 64-bit processor with second-level address translation, SLAT. Minimum of 4 GB memory. Virtualization support turned on in the BIOS or UEFI. To check for Hyper-V requirements, open Windows PowerShell or a command prompt and type. Scroll to the Hyper-V requirements section to review the report. If you run system info on an existing Hyper-V host, the Hyper-V requirements section reads, Hyper-V requirements, a hypervisor has been detected. Features required for Hyper-V will not be displayed. Enable Hyper-V. Using Control Panel, press Windows key +R, type, and press Enter. Select Turn Windows features on or off. Check the box next to Hyper-V and click OK. Restart your computer. Now you can open Hyper-V Manager from the Start menu. That's it. You should now have Hyper-V installed and ready to use. To adjust Hyper-V settings, which apply to the entire Hyper-V environment rather than individual virtual machines, follow these steps. Launch the Hyper-V Manager application on your computer. In the right-hand pane, click on Hyper-V settings under the host machine's name. You'll see several sections on the left-hand side. Here's what you can customize. Virtual hard disks. Set the default folder where virtual hard disk files are stored. Virtual machines. Specify the default folder for storing virtual machine configuration files. NUMA spanning. Enable or disable NUMA spanning for virtual machines. Storage migrations. Configure preferences for migrating virtual machine storage. Enhanced session mode policy. Control whether enhanced session mode is allowed for all virtual machines on the host. Keyboard. Adjust how keyboard shortcuts are handled when working with virtual machines. Mouse release key. Set the key combination used to release the mouse from a virtual machine. Enhanced session mode. Enable or disable the use of enhanced session mode when connecting to virtual machines. Reset checkboxes. Reset all checkboxes to their default values. Once you've made your adjustments, click Apply and then OK to save the changes. These settings allow you to customize how Hyper-V operates on your host system, helping you optimize its functionality and performance. To adjust virtual network settings in Hyper-V using the Virtual Switch Manager, here's a detailed guide covering external, internal, and private virtual switches. Accessing the Virtual Switch Manager, open Hyper-V Manager. Under the host name of your Hyper-V server, click on Virtual Switch Manager in the right-hand Actions pane. In the Virtual Switch Manager window, you can create and configure external, internal, and private virtual switches. External virtual switch. Purpose. Connects virtual machines, VMs, to the physical network, allowing them to communicate with other devices on the same network and access the Internet. Use case. Ideal for scenarios where VMs need full network access, including Internet connectivity. Setup. In the Virtual Switch Manager, select New Virtual Network Switch. Then select External and click Create Virtual Switch. Enter a name for the switch. Choose the physical network adapter to bridge the virtual switch. Optionally, check the box to allow the management operating system to share the network adapter. Click OK to save the configuration. Internal virtual switch. Purpose. Creates a network that allows communication between the host and VMs but does not provide access to the physical network or the Internet. Use case. Suitable for testing environments where VMs need to communicate with the host, but remain isolated from external networks. Setup. In the Virtual Switch Manager, select New Virtual Network Switch. Then select Internal and click Create Virtual Switch. Enter a name for the switch. Click OK to save the configuration. Assign this switch to your VMs by configuring their network adapter settings. Private virtual switch. Purpose. Creates a network that allows communication only between VMs on the same host. The host and external networks are not accessible. Use case: ideal for isolated environments, where VMs need to communicate only with each other. Setup: in the Virtual Switch Manager, select New Virtual Network Switch, then select Private and click Create Virtual Switch. Enter a name for the switch. Click OK to save the configuration. Assign this switch to your VMs by configuring their network adapter settings. Creating a virtual machine (VM) in Hyper-V allows you to run multiple operating systems on a single host machine efficiently. Here's a step-by-step guide on how to create a VM and a detailed explanation of each setting in Hyper-V. Launch Hyper-V Manager from the Start menu. This interface is where you'll manage and create virtual machines. In the Actions pane, click New and then select Virtual Machine. Name your VM. Enter a descriptive name, e.g., Ubuntu VM. Choose the folder where VM files will be stored. Choose Generation 1, Legacy Compatibility, BIOS-based firmware, supports older OS. Generation 2, Modern Compatibility, UEFI firmware, supports secure boot, recommended for newer operating systems. Assign memory: allocate startup memory, for example, 2048 megabytes, 2 gigabytes, for lightweight Linux. Enable dynamic memory to allow Hyper-V to adjust memory usage based on the VM's needs. Configure networking: select a virtual switch for connectivity. External switch connects to the physical network and allows internet access. Internal switch enables communication between VMs and the host but no internet. Private switch allows communication only between VMs, isolating them from the host and the internet. Connect virtual hard disk. Create a new virtual hard disk or use an existing one. Specify size, for example, 20 gigabytes for basic installations. Install the operating system. Choose to install the OS later or attach an installation media (ISO) file. Once the VM is created, right-click on it and select Settings for further customization. Hyper-V VM Settings. Hardware 1. Add hardware. Add additional components, for example, network adapters, hard disks, and SCSI controllers, to the VM as needed. 2. Firmware. Adjust the boot order, e.g., optical drive first, or enable secure boot for Generation 2 VMs to ensure only trusted software is loaded during startup. 3. Security. Configure encryption support and Trusted Platform Module (TPM) to enhance security, especially for sensitive data or modern operating systems. 4. Memory. Set memory allocation. Startup memory. Assign an initial amount of RAM to the VM. Dynamic memory. Enable this feature for flexible memory allocation based on VM workloads. 5. Processors. Specify the number of processors, e.g., 2 virtual CPUs for better performance. Configure features such as virtual NUMA and compatibility mode for advanced setups. 6. SCSI controller. Attach virtual hard drives and optical drives to the VM using SCSI controllers, which are scalable and efficient. 7. Network adapter. Configure network connectivity using one of the following. External network. Connects the VM to the host's physical network, providing internet access and a dedicated IP address. Internal network. Allows communication between the host and VM, but no internet access. Private network. Isolates the VM for communication only between virtual machines, ideal for testing or isolated environments. Hyper-V VM Settings. Management. 1. Name. Update the name or description of the VM for better identification. 2. Integration services. Enable integration services such as time synchronization, heartbeat monitoring, and guest file copy for seamless interaction between the host and VM. 3. Checkpoints. Enable checkpoints to save the VM state for backup purposes or testing changes safely. Standard checkpoints. Captures the VM's current state and memory. Production checkpoints. Captures a consistent state, using the operating system's backup technology. 4. Smart paging file location. Specify where to store the paging file that Hyper-V uses when the VM runs out of physical memory. 5. Automatic start action. Configure. What happens to the VM when the host machine boots up? Do nothing. The VM remains powered off. Start automatically. The VM powers on. Restore previous state. The VM returns to the state it was in before the host shut down. 6. Automatic stop action. Configure the behavior when the host machine shuts down. Save the VM state. Saves the current state for faster restoration later. Turn off the VM. Powers off the VM immediately without saving. Shut down the VM. Gracefully shuts down the VM's operating system. Finally, select the VM and click Connect to begin the installation process. Activating the VM. Click anywhere inside the Hyper-V virtual machine connection window where your VM is running. This will capture your mouse and keyboard input, allowing you to interact with the guest OS. If integration services are enabled, your mouse should move seamlessly between the host and VM. Entering full screen mode, press Ctrl+Alt+Break to toggle full screen mode in Hyper-V. If your keyboard doesn't have a break key, try using Ctrl+Alt+Pause instead. This will maximize the VM window to fill your display. To exit full screen mode, press the same shortcut again or resize the window manually. Follow the OS installation wizard to set up the operating system. Hyper-V provides a robust platform for creating and managing virtual machines. By understanding each setting, you can tailor your VM's configuration to suit various use cases, whether for testing environments, development work, or running isolated systems effectively. Installing Hyper-V integration services in a Windows VM enhances performance and enables essential features like time synchronization, guest shutdown, and clipboard sharing. Here's how to set it up. Check if integration services are included. Windows Server 2016 and later, as well as Windows 10 and newer, already have Hyper-V integration services built in. Enable integration services via Hyper-V Manager. Open Hyper-V Manager. Right-click the virtual machine and select Settings. Under Management, choose Integration Services to view available options. Enable the necessary services. Ensure required features, such as time synchronization, data exchange, heartbeat, and guest shutdown, are activated. If a service is disabled, check the box next to it and click Apply. Enable Enhanced Session Mode. In Hyper-V Settings, check if Enhanced Session Mode is enabled. This allows clipboard sharing between the host and VM. Many modern Linux distributions already include Hyper-V Linux Integration Services, LIS, by default, eliminating the need for manual installation. However, if your Linux VM does not have LIS pre-installed, you can follow these steps. Install LIS from the Linux repository. Debian-based distributions, for Debian 10+, Buster, Bullseye, Bookworm, and Ubuntu, LIS is already included in the kernel, so you may not need to install anything. However, if you want additional optimizations for Ubuntu running on Hyper-V or Azure, install the Linux Azure kernel. For Debian 12, Bookworm, the Hyper-V daemons package is not available, but LIS modules are already built into the kernel. You can manually enable them if needed. To verify LIS is running, for Debian 9 and older, you must manually enable LIS modules. To verify LIS is running, Red Hat-based distributions, for RHEL 7 and newer, LIS is built into the kernel, so manual installation is not required. However, if needed, install LIS using Then, enable and start the LIS services. To verify LIS is running, Arch-based distributions, LIS is not officially supported by Microsoft, but you can manually install the required modules. Manually load LIS modules. To verify LIS is running, System Services, HVF copy, HVVM bus, etc., are not required for Arch-based distributions. OpenSUSE-based distributions, LIS is included in the kernel, but you may need to install additional tools. Then, enable LIS services. Alternatively, manually load LIS modules. To verify LIS is running, adjust screen resolution in Hyper-V. If your Linux VM screen resolution is incorrect, modify grub settings. Open a terminal and edit the grub configuration. Find the line that starts with grub cmd line Linux default, and modify it to include a resolution setting. Save the file and update grub. Copy-paste challenges in Hyper-V console. If you notice that copy-paste isn't working in a Linux VM running on Hyper-V, remember that enhanced session mode is only available for Windows VMs. The default Hyper-V virtual machine connection tool, VM Connect, offers limited clipboard functionality for Linux guests. Workarounds: use an RDP connection. Install an RDP server like XRDP to get full clipboard, drive, and peripheral redirection. Use network file sharing. Set up Samba or NFS for file transfers. Use cloud-based clipboard syncing. Services like OneDrive, Google Drive, or SyncThing can help. After installation, your Linux VM should have better integration with Hyper-V, including improved networking, dynamic memory support, seamless interaction with the host system. There are two primary methods to backup and restore a VM in Hyper-V: copy, paste VM files, export, import the VM. Each method has its advantages and trade-offs, depending on your needs. Method 1. Copy-paste VM files. This method involves manually copying the VM's files. Backup, copy, locate the VM folder, open Hyper-V Manager and find the VM storage path. The default path is usually copy the entire VM folder, including XML, configuration file, VHDX, virtual disk file, snapshots and log files, if any. Store the copied folder in an external drive or another location. Restore, paste, copy the backed up VM folder to the same directory on the target machine. Open Hyper-V Manager, select Import Virtual Machine, and browse to the XML file to register the VM. Start the VM. It should work as before. Pros: fast and simple, preserves exact VM state, no conversion required. Cons: may break if restoring on a different Hyper-V version or system. Snapshots or linked files might be missing. Method 2. Export, import VM. Hyper-V provides an export virtual machine feature, which packages everything into a structured backup. Backup, export, open Hyper-V Manager, and go to Action, then Export. Select the VM to export. Choose a destination folder and click Export. Restore, import, open Hyper-V Manager, and go to Action, then Import Virtual Machine. Select the exported VM folder. Click Import and configure VM settings. Start the VM. Pros: more portable, works across different Hyper-V versions, self-contained and structured backup, easier to transfer VMs to another system. Cons: takes more time to export, import, may require reconfiguration after import. Which method is best? For local backups and quick restores, use copy-paste. For migrating VMs or structured backups, use export, import. Hyper-V provides an export, import feature that allows you to move or backup virtual machines efficiently. Export a virtual machine in Hyper-V. Open Hyper-V Manager and locate the VM you want to export. Right-click the VM and select Export. Choose a destination folder, where the exported files will be stored. Click Export and wait for the process to complete. Tip: the exported VM includes all necessary files, virtual hard disk, VHDX, configuration files, and checkpoints. Import a virtual machine in Hyper-V. Open Hyper-V Manager and go to Action. Then import virtual machine. Select the folder containing the exported VM files. Choose the VM to import and click Next. Select the import type. Register the VM in place. Uses existing files. Restore the VM. Copies files to a new location. Copy the VM. Creates a new unique VM. Click Finish to complete the import. Tip: if moving the VM to a different Hyper-V host, ensure compatibility with the Hyper-V version. Difference between export, import versus copy-paste method. Export, import VM. Copy-paste VM files. Portability can be used across different systems. Works best on the same system. Completeness includes all configurations in one file. Might miss snapshots or linked files. Ease of transfer simplifies moving VMs to another machine. Requires manual file management. Speed takes time to process. Faster for quick restores. Which method should you use? For structured backups or moving VMs to another system, use export, import. For quick local backups, use copy-paste. And that's it for today. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and don't forget to activate the notification bell so you won't miss out on any new uploads. Thank you for watching. Until next time, see you later.